the Chiefs and the Saints add 2 new additions to their teams. And, we're talking about 2 playoff teams signing free agents.
Guaranteed playoff teams.
Yeah, and the Chiefs actually need defense. So they went out and got Terrell Suggs.
Yeah, who is a veteran. He's been along for a minute.
Mm-hmm.
He decided to go to the Cardinals this year, and obviously hasn't worked out. So they cut him, which was weird too, right?
Yeah, it was. I always think there's something behind that though. Like he goes to the team like, look, just fucking let me go. We ain't going nowhere. Let me try to get one more little run. But I think that what you touched on is the most important aspect for the Chiefs. They got that veteran in the locker room who has Super Bowls, who has playoff experience, who played beside fucking Ray Lewis, and that Ravens team was crazy when he was there.
Oh, yeah.
So to be able to bring that into that locker room, that young locker room with the Chiefs, that's huge.
Yeah, I agree. The Chiefs lost both their pass rushers that they had for mad long, which was Justin Houston. He went to the Colts, and D Ford. He ended up signing a big-ass contract with the 49ers, and that hasn't panned out too well, but he's hurt right now, but, he could come back and help them during the playoffs. But Terrell Suggs, like you said, he's been around for a long time, playoff experience. This Chiefs team is pretty young, even though they've been to, they just went to the AFC Championship last year. But they need that pass rush.
They do.
If they have an Achilles heel, is their pass rush.
Yeah.
And I would also say their running game this year.
I feel like that's by choice. You got fucking running backs. Give them the ball.
Yeah. Whatever it is, but, yeah, they're not running how, like, when they had Kareem Hunt last year.
Yeah. Well, their whole offense, honestly, since Patrick Mahomes has come back from his injury, has not looked like the Chiefs' offense that we're used to.
That is true, but they've been doing enough and, getting the wins that they do need. And like we said, man, they need help on, getting pressure in the playoffs. That's very important, getting pressures against these elite quarterbacks. You can't let them just sit back there all day and, do whatever they want. The Chiefs right now in sacks, their total defense is 11th in the league, which is not terrible. There's some other playoffs teams that are worse, and there's some shitty teams like the Jaguars and the Panthers. Panthers are number 1 with 49 sacks.
Jeez.
And they're nowhere near making the playoffs. So sacks aren't everything, but in those crucial moments when you don't have anyone and you have to blitz, and all the quarterbacks in the playoffs know how to torch you when the blitz is coming.
Yeah.
So I think it's definitely a good pickup for them. It definitely, pushes them, a little bit further up to compete with the Ravens and the Patriots, those top 2 seeds. So we'll see. I think it's a good pickup.
I agree. I think the second pickup that we're going to talk about also is Janoris Jenkins to the Saints, and I think that's a really good pickup also.
Yeah, and let's talk about, how do you feel about what happened with him where he called, like, the fan a retard through Twitter, and then he came out and he basically said, I didn't mean it in an offensive way. That's just how he talked.
That's the thing is like we were talking about on last week's episode. You were mentioning, what was it, the cancel culture or whatever it's called. Yeah. And how many times we called each other retards growing up?
Until this day.
You know what I mean? Like it's not. Did the person even have like a mental disorder?
I don't know exactly who the person is, of course, but I don't think he, like, clicked on the guy's Twitter picture and was like, oh, this guy's in a wheelchair. Let me call him a retard. I don't think it was anything malice like that. He was just the guy, the fan or whatever the guy was. I don't know if he's a Giants fan or not. He was just talking shit. And he was like, because Jenkins was posting, like, his stats, through, like, the year. And it was like, oh, I only gave up, like, 2 touchdowns or whatever. And I haven't allowed a touchdown since like week 4 or whatever he said. And then the guy like responded and was like, oh, you got all these great stats, but where are the wins or some shit like that. And then he just called him like a retard in passing.
Which is another word for stupid in that context.
Yes.
Like, you're an idiot. Stop talking to me. Like,
yes.
it was that kind of thing. So, I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't have cut him for it. I'd have been like, all right, dude's a retard.
I
What the fuck
wouldn't
you want?
have. Yeah, exactly. I wouldn't have cut him for it. You know how much shit these coaches say to the players, like on the
Oh, my
practice
God.
field and shit.
Yeah, I could imagine.
Yeah, you can imagine, right? So I bet you they say way worse than calling players on their own team a retard. So he just called this guy a retard. Yes, we know it's 2019. You can't use certain words. They trigger. They're insensitive. They offend everyone. And we do get it. And like I said, if he was, picking on someone that was mentally handicapped or something.
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, then you'd be like, chill, like, come on, bro. This is who you're picking on. You're a grown-ass man. But, in passing like that, that's just something that corporate America and the media will never get.
Yeah.
And they'll always side with, because they don't want to lose whatever money they have or...
that's what motivates it.
Yeah, that's what motivates it, of course. The Giants do that, and then, next thing you know, an organization that the Giants work with who support, the mentally handicapped, they get offended and they don't want to work with the Giants anymore, and they make the Giants look bad, and that's the last thing the Giants want.
Which I actually think is true. I think the Snow Bowl, I think it's called, it's like a flag football tournament in Giant Stadium, is, all the donations go towards like Special Olympics.
There you go. So yeah, I didn't know that, but I'm pretty sure, all these teams work with a lot of, charities and stuff, supporting, things like the Special Olympics, Wounded Warriors, all that type of stuff. So, I get it. The Giants, they have to protect themselves, but at the same time, he told you what he meant by it. There was, it wasn't intended to offend anyone with, with any mental, issues or handicaps like that. So, like you said, it's the way you grew up, and the way he said it in the media, he's like, that's how we talk in the hood.
Yeah.
And it's true.
It is. We grew up calling each other retards.
Yeah.
It's not, it wasn't meant offensively. And I honestly think that this is more of the Giants, like, fuck it, we're rebuilding. Like, let's get rid of everything.
Yeah.
Open up some cap space. Let's start the process. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think so too. But anyway, the Saints, for the second time, have signed a outcast of the New York Giants secondary. They got Eli Apple a while ago, who is like the weak link on that defense.
He's terrible. He was terrible on the Giants. I didn't understand why they picked him up. Like, it's
when he initially signed, he did give them like a spark, whatever they needed. I guess he came in with a lot of confidence, knowing he was going to the playoffs, and his season basically changed within a day. But yeah, like today, he's definitely the weak link in that secondary. So maybe they were seeing that. Yeah. And they're like, you know what? We need someone more capable on the other side of Lattimore, and maybe throw Eli Apple in the slot or something, or, just as a fourth corner, just in case someone gets hurt. He knows the system by now and stuff. So, Janoris Jenkins, I think, is definitely a good pickup, especially for a guy. He could be that spark again. He just came from the second worst team in the NFL to boom, you're in the fucking playoffs.
on a Super Bowl contender, not one of them teams that are just in the playoffs.
Yeah, you could really win a ring this year, and if you do your job on that other side, you could definitely help bring that ring home. Yeah. Because Lattimore is a good corner. He's going to limit his guy, the number one receiver. And if you get somebody else to lock up the other side, with that pass rush, you could definitely, do some damage in the playoffs. So I think both good pickups, two veterans players going to two playoff contenders, and these could be the moves that they need to, take them to the championship.